Welcome to Crowdin Power Up, where we dive into the most exciting and innovative features on the Crowdin platform. Good morning. Guess what? It's sunny in Dallas this morning. How's the weather in Amsterdam, Dorota?
Good afternoon. It's not rainy today.
All right, that's an upgrade.
It's nice.
We're
yeah.
here for the
It's a pleasantly
we're here for
cloudy.
great. We're here for the fourth episode of Crowdin Power Up, and today we got some exciting features to share with you. As always, I believe we're talking about vector clouds this morning, aren't we, Dorota?
Correct. So we will look into a new exciting app that helps to find and use relevant context in your translation localization. It's called Vector Cloud, as you've mentioned. So it uses a vector database to provide context for translation with AI models. And you can upload any file to the Vector Cloud. It could be parallel text, it could be style guides, but also any other text created for your client. Maybe text that include only like one phrase or several words that can be useful in your new content. And also it could be text in different languages than your target language. So it could be some document that has a similar structure to the structure you want to produce with AI. So it's somehow like a magic pot, so you can throw anything that you think can be useful for the context of your project, and then AI will pull out relevant data and infuse your new content with it. So with vector database, you can use even those 10% matches that are usually overlooked when you work with translation memory only. So we don't normally leverage those tiny matches from TM, and sometimes these matches won't be even displayed in the localization tool, but Vector Cloud changes that. It can help you make your translation more consistent with previously created content. So it can also help you improve quality. So translation matches terminology and style guide, and it is based on your unique knowledge base that you don't have to search through manually, because Vector Cloud supports you in this search for the right context.
I predict a lot of translators' ears just peaked up about this feature. We've never even considered using fuzzy matches below 50%, let alone 10%. If we could get any leverage out of that, that would be wonderful. Go ahead. I'm interrupting you.
Well, I just want to sum up the benefits. So it gives you more accuracy, more context. You can reuse content created earlier, even if it's just one word or one phrase, even those seemingly insignificant 10% matches. So I guess it's time we show it in action. Enough talking about it.
Let's do it.
Let's see what the app can do. So I have here a sample project with a website copy for a fictional smart home device. And first I will translate it without Vector Cloud, so without reference documents, by using Agentic AI only. And then we'll see what happens if we connect Vector Cloud to this project with relevant data such as style guides or reference documents. So let's ask the Agentic AI for pre-translation. I want to pre-translate all segments in this file. It takes some time to look into translation memory and glossary. Now we have 27 suggested translations. Let's have a look at them. So the terms from the glossary were followed, such as here we have the device. It was in the glossary. Agentic AI used correct term, and the same in the second example. The home hub was translated correctly. But still, this translation could be improved to make it more fluent. For example, the first sentence is quite literal. The sentence where it says, enjoy a house, the first one really here. So it is enjoy a home that adapts to you. It's a little bit too literal. That verb enjoy was translated very literally. It could be...
I'm going to take your word for it that it says that again.
Yes, so, and the same with the last sentence. We have a very literal translation for the sentence where it says, experience the comfort of living smart. So that verb experience, for example, is very literal. So for such constructions with the verb like enjoy or experience, maybe my brand, my client has different preferences that weren't captured in translation memory, but they were included in parallel text. But Agentic AI didn't have access to those documents because I didn't add them to my project. So AI couldn't look up for phrases with enjoy or experience to be able to translate it in a more creative way. Now I will leave this project open to come up to it for comparison later. I have a second project. But first, let's see what happens with this translation if I add more contextual data. So here I have extra documents in my vector cloud. I'm adding a style guide. I'm adding a reference document. So this is an example of a reference document when I have Polish text. It's only Polish, so only target language, not the search language. I want AI to see what's my preferred style. So I'm adding this document to the vector cloud. I will also add a manual. So this is a manual of another device. I'm adding it to my vector database because maybe AI wants to see, again, how to structure the document, or maybe what's the required terminology or style. And I have also a style guide with some examples of how to translate my text in a more creative way, and also, instructions of the tone of voice, for example. So these documents are in my vector cloud, and I will now open a second project with the same source text, but this time we are using vector cloud for more contextually relevant translation. And now let's ask Agentic AI for a pre-translation again, and let's see what happens this time. So it has found, so we can already see this is an example. I'm turning on the preview for the Polish text. I can already see it looks much better. Let's have a look at the first sentence. So before we had a very literal translation. Now it doesn't say literally enjoy a home that adopts to you. It says your home will become a space adopted to you. It's more creative. It reads much better in Polish. So again, a quick look at how this sentence was translated in the first project. So in the first project, again, it was quite literal because we didn't have reference documents. And in my second, with vector cloud, with reference, it reads much better because AI knows how to translate it in a more creative way, in a way that is consistent with my style guide. We can also have a look at the last sentence. So here again, this one looks much better. We don't have a literal calc from English anymore. So this experience the comfort of living smart has now been translated as explore how convenient the intelligent life can be. Again, it reads much better in Polish. You can have a look at the first project without the vector cloud. It was very literal. And in my second project with a vector cloud, it sounds much more natural. So translation is actually not the only process that can benefit from extra content uploaded to vector cloud.
If I can quickly interject here, because when you give these demos, I'm always thinking about the possibilities of this. And would you say, as a translator, it comes to mind to me that this would be a wonderful way to put out maybe several versions of the same translation and give your customer the opportunity to voice their preference and maybe present different options. I'm thinking specifically if you're working on, say, marketing materials or something like that, you could have several versions of the same document presented to your customer and have them give options. That's something customers, I think, would love.
Yeah, if it's a creative copy, I think sometimes it's useful to present several versions. Of course, if they understand target language, because sometimes they don't.
That's true.
Just actually a quick look into the documents that we have uploaded here. So I want to show you that AI actually did take into account what I had in my reference document. So this was the sentence that was used as my last sentence in my translation. And as my reference document, it was only a Polish document. It wasn't a bilingual document. And the same for the first one. It was in my reference file as well. So it wasn't English-Polish bilingual file. It was only a Polish file, but because it was appropriate for my context, AI could use it in my translation. So, as I mentioned, translation is not the only process that can benefit from extra content uploaded to the vector cloud. It helps also with quality checks. So, second demo.
Nice.
So this time, let's have a look at example of another creative copy. It's also the same imaginary website. Don't look for it online. I came up with this text, so it's for some smart home device. Again, it has a lot of creative phrases and some slogans. Here's the preview in Polish. It has already been translated. The Polish version is it's not literal. It's a little bit more creative. Now, if you run a QA check on this text, maybe to verify if there are no deviations from glossary or from style guide, or maybe if you want to check for accidental mistranslations, you might see a lot of false positives because AI is not so great at assessing creative copy. So creative translations might be very often flagged as inaccurate. But it changes if we provide context to vector database. So the model knows the brand style. It sees examples of previously translated content. It knows, for example, that my translation has to be creative, right? So there will be less noise caused by false positive. So let's see it in action. Actually, first I will delete all the documents from my vector cloud so AI doesn't know that my text has to be creative, so it doesn't see the examples. And first we will review the text without documents in the vector cloud, and then we will review it again with the documents added to the vector cloud.
It's remarkable that when this QA feature, we're now fine-tuning in the opposite direction. Did you notice that too? We were going from too literal to creative, and now in this particular QA cycle, we're doing it in the opposite direction.
Yes, correct. So I will quickly enter a prompt here. I want to review the file for mistranslations and deviations from glossary. And we can already see a few examples. So AI claims that my one of my sentences wasn't translated accurately because I used the word song and not a playlist. In this case, it doesn't matter if I'm saying wake up to the tunes of your favorite playlist or a song, because I'm not translating a mobile app interface. It's not a music app where it really matters if you say playlist or song. This is just a creative copy for a smart home device. And the idea is that the user wants to wake up to the tunes of their favorite music. So it doesn't matter if I say song or playlist. And in my context, in my scenario, actually, the word song sounds, well, more natural. It fits the target language flow, but AI claims it's inaccurate. Now there's another issue it claims there is with translation. So it says, for example, that one sentence in one sentence the word beautifully wasn't translated as beautifully, but with style. But I can't translate everything literally, of course. I want my translation to have style, so the translation uses the word with style and not beautifully, but for AI it's inaccurate. But that's because it wasn't exposed to similar creative examples from other types of content. It doesn't know that this is actually correct. So now we will add reference files to the vector cloud so that AI knows what type of translation I want. So I'm adding a parallel text or a reference text and a style guide. We can have a quick look at these files. So this is the very short style guide. It tells me explicitly that the translations have to be creative and transcreate when needed. Also, 2 examples of how to translate the text so that it sounds natural and creative. And the second document is just a short reference text with only in Polish. It's not a bilingual file. It's only in Polish to show AI what I want. I want a creative text. And now, once we have the vector, all the documents in the vector cloud, we can run the review with Agentic AI again. So I will ask AI to do exactly the same thing with the same prompt. I want to review the translation for any mistranslations. for correct use of style guide or terminology. And let's see what it tells me this time. So now it didn't find anything. Now actually it tells me that the translation is accurate and effective and is consistent with other translated content. So now it took my reference documents into account and assessed my translation as correct because it was exposed to those creative examples in my database in the vector cloud.
This is really something revolutionary if the viewers hadn't noticed this yet, because for 30 years now, we've been focusing on catching mistakes in the translation memory when we veered away from it, but we never ever had the capability to actually work with a tool that lets you be more creative. And in this case, that's what you've demonstrated here. It's really amazing. I think that we're going to be able to adjust in the other direction now too. And if it's too literal, we can actually loosen it up a little bit like you've demonstrated here. And by implementing a QA process that takes that into account, we're off to the races with a more creative text now. This is really something else. Thank you for showing us.
And we never before had the opportunity to add parallel text to our project, right? We could only add terminology or translation memories. We couldn't even add style guide to the project. And now we can feed all the data that we think are relevant to the vector database, to vector cloud, for example, and we will be able to use it. Now, if you are excited to experiment with vector cloud, let's have a quick overview of how to set it up.
Let's do it. A little bit of a technical setup, but that's a small price to pay, I think.
It's not,
and you're gonna guide us. You're gonna guide us through it.
It's not very complicated. So all you have to do is go to the App Store, find Vector Cloud, install it, and then you need to configure it. So you will find the Vector Cloud on your left side menu under the extensions tabs. You'll have to configure your embedding provider. So you simply have to add your API under your AI model. So I will copy paste here my API key for OpenAI. You will need to enable it, of course, save the settings. And then in the next sections, we will see content sources. So this is all about translation memories and glossaries that you already have in Crowdin. So you can indicate which translation memories are relevant for the particular project. So I can select several translation memories. So I can select one for my Home Hub smart home device and two more, for example. And the same with glossaries. You can add several existing glossaries as well. Now, the next section, it's about synchronizing your data. So the idea is that if you hit sync now, all the resources you have added here, so the glossaries and translation memories, they will be updated automatically. So if there are any new bits, any new entries there, you don't have to come back here and update it manually. It will be automatically synchronized. So the AI, so there will be always the new version in your vector cloud. So you can always use relevant context. Now, the next section can be a little bit mysterious. It's about enhancing AI prompts. So let's have a look what it means. So if you enable this section, you are giving AI a quick summary of what similar translation you have done before and what are the terms or the styles that you prefer. So the vector database will look into your strings, into your entries in maybe translation memory or glossary or reference files, and then it will pick the most relevant matches. It won't be only words, but also maybe meaning or context. And then those matches will be added to the AI prompt. So it will be like extra clues for the model. And then AI will use those extra clues to create translations that are closer to your team's or to your brand's, to your client's terminology, tone, or phrasing. And once you enable it, you can choose which prompt you want to use, which prompt you want to enhance. And if you don't select any prompt, all your prompts will be enhanced. And now below, there are several, so this is how you can, where you can choose the AI prompt. And below we have some values. So for example, there's a number of similar results. You can provide here any value between 1 and 100. It's about the results that will be returned for every query. There's also another parameter when you can define your similarity score threshold. And finally, the last parameter, this is quite interesting. So if the value is low, the prompts, well, the execution of the prompts will be faster, but maybe less accurate. And with high values, you have more accuracy, but maybe the performance will be slower. So you can leave these values with default settings. You can customize them as well. And once you save it, it's time to upload any documents you want to see in Vector Cloud. So I can add here, for example, a style guide or several reference materials. There are several supported formats, as you can see here. There's a PDF, CSV, so there are many different possibilities, and you can add up to 10 files. So I will add one manual and one style guide.
I hear translators asking me all the time now, what will we be doing in the future? What will it mean for our translation work? And you're making us dream here, because you're actually giving us a window in how linguists could hire their value to their customers in a tremendous way that wasn't possible at scale in the past. By the help of this agentic AI feature, you're going to be able to give your customer possibilities and flexibility on how you want to manage the copy and what kind of a style you put out in a way that you never had before. And this is, for me, it's making me connected directly with those questions I get all the time. This is a little window in how the profession might change, and really is going to get us into multilingual content writing a lot more than there was possible in the past. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, and if we have a chance to use multilingual content in a like new creative way, so we can use any context, even created in any other language, to create new content in our language. So there are new possibilities. Yes, and the last section is just about document management. So you have a quick overview of your files. You can always delete them if you don't need them anymore. And that's it. The configuration is not overly complicated. You can complete it within 1 or 2 minutes.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. You're making all the linguists dream around the world, I think.
Yeah, and we've mentioned briefly quality check. I just want to remind that, well, it's not a new feature, but just a quick reminder. So it's oldie but goodie. There are a few other ways to do AI-based QA in Crowdin, not only with Agentic AI that we have seen now, but also if you go to the project settings under QA check, there's a feature AI-powered check. If you activate it, you can use AI-based QA in your project. And also there's an AI proofreader app, and you can customize the prompt for that app as well by adding, for example, extra variables. So of course I can change the default prompt, but I can also add variables such as a style guide, and then the prompt will always follow my style guide. I don't have to add the style guide manually. And when my style guide changes, the prompt will simply pull up the new version of the style guide. So you can also customize your prompt for AI-based QA in Crowdin. So these are just the two things I wanted to mention because we did some QA check with Agentic AI in our project.
Great, that's a good update. Wonderful. Anything else, Dorota?
Well, I just want to highlight the benefits of Vector Cloud again. So it gives us an opportunity to use more reference data, to have our content more accurate, and to follow the style guides, to follow the terminology. So we can show AI what's the text, what's the style. We can simply guide AI more accurately, and as a result, the content generated by AI fits our needs or our clients' needs better than without those reference documents.
Yeah, it's really a great illustration of how, in symbiosis with AI, we're going to become a lot better. I think this is not, or no longer does it feel like a threat to me as to taking over. Clearly, the human is in charge of the direction of the content, and with the additional tools and features that you've shown here, we're going to be able to be more productive than in the past. So, wonderful presentation today. Maybe in parting, I want to quickly remind everybody that we're still looking for people to be part of our language wizards circle. This is your chance to be part of the process of what the future is going to look like. Crowdin has this wonderful initiative that brings in linguists and translators from around the world. We meet once a month and we talk about precisely these types of features that we've been showcasing in the Power Up series. And we obviously give people access to the platform in a way that they can test out the features and give us feedback and suggestions. And it's an easy way to be involved in the community effort that might pay off in features that you've been dreaming about all along. Here's your way to control it. So shoot me or Dorota a quick message on LinkedIn. Maybe that's the easiest way to get in touch with us. If you don't have a direct way to communicate with us, go ahead, shoot us a message on LinkedIn if you're interested in being part of the Language Wizards Power Up Circle, and we'll get back to you and add you to the group. It's a really great group of people that we meet with every month. Did I forget anything, Dorota?
I think that's it. We've mentioned everything.
All right, perfect. We'll see you again next month, and thank you everybody for tuning in for the Crowdin Power Up episode number 4. This was. We'll be ready next month for episode number 5. Thank you.